As you know, the parents' rights movement sweeping across America has been a big part of the content you see on this program every night. Groups like Moms for Liberty, Parents Defending Education, they're out there making sure that parents have a seat at the table when important curriculum decisions are being made, when school board members, school superintendents, teachers, educators, the unions, when they're deciding things for our children. These groups represent us, and it's really come home with regard to transgender activists trying to push new policies on the public schools where girls can't have safe spaces like restrooms and locker rooms, and where children under the age of 8, 7, 6, 8 in kindergarten sometimes are being forced to engage in conversations about sexuality and gender identity. Parents want to be a part of that conversation. It shouldn't be done behind our backs or in secret. That's why we're big fans of Moms for Liberty, Parents Defending Education, other groups that you see here all the time. So imagine our surprise when we found out that we've been interviewing members of a hate group. Southern Poverty Law Center has now called those great moms and dads just trying to have a say in their kids' education hate groups. Let's bring in the man who has literally written the book on the Southern Poverty Law Center. He is Tyler O'Neill, managing editor at the Mighty Daily Signal over there at the Heritage Foundation. Tyler, I guess we shouldn't be surprised at this point, but what was this latest announcement and what's the basis for it?
Yeah, thanks, Larry. So the Southern Poverty Law Center has decided to add these groups to the map that plots the Ku Klux Klan chapter across the United States. And this map, the Southern Poverty Law Center has long branded mainstream conservative and Christian groups, hate groups, putting them on the map. This time they decided to say that these are anti-government extremist groups, even though all they are moms and dads, as you said, going to school board meetings, voicing their concern about pornographic materials in schools, about schools pushing transgender ideology on kids at younger and younger ages, and encouraging them to foster transgender identity and keep parents out of the loop, even on medical decisions that will impact kids for the rest of their lives.
Have any of these groups or members of these groups or any people affiliated with these groups, have they ever been accused of any violent acts at school board meetings or directed at teachers or even making threats of violence?
So there have been a few instances where they've been charged, but then later vindicated by speaking out at these school board meetings. So what we're seeing here, these are not violent groups, and that gets to the heart of the question. These are moms and dads who are using the legal process to speak out, to support candidates who will defend parental rights and who will support their ability to decide what their kids can learn in schools. And they're being demonized and compared to violent racist groups like the Ku Klux Klan.
Quoting from their paper called A Year in Hate and Extremism, that's subtle, it says, schools especially have been on the receiving end of ramped up and coordinated hard right attacks, frequently through the guise of parents' rights groups. So that suggests that erstwhile citizens, taxpayers, and moms and dads are just using the term parents' rights as some sort of a smokescreen or camouflage, that they're not really interested in parents' rights. Is there a basis for that allegation?
No, none whatsoever. And what you see completely absent from this report is any mention, any notion of the fact that we've had a leftist movement trying to separate kids from their parents, trying to take away their ability to know what their kids are learning in schools and their ability to have a say in their children's health decisions. And all this extreme radicalization that the left has been doing, these groups are merely a response to that.
Yeah.
And so the Southern Poverty Law Center is acting as though these groups emerged out of a vacuum, or even worse, are some late echo of the Klan. I saw an SPLC article calling the parental rights movement the Uptown Klans, comparing them to people who opposed Brown v. Board in the 1950s.
Wow.
Like, no, these moms and dads are people of every race, who are coming together and expressing their belief that they should be able to decide what their kids learn, especially about these extremely contentious issues of race and sex and gender.
Tyler, the third group here on this list is Parents' Rights in Education. I didn't mention them because I'm not familiar with them, but I literally have Moms for Liberty and Parents Defending Education I have on a regular basis. They're great guests. They understand the machinations of public schools and the role of the teachers' unions. They're smart and they're passionate and they care about these issues, which last I checked is totally legal in this country. Again, they're just exercising their free speech rights. I think this might be a good time to remind everybody who the Southern Poverty Law Center is, because normally, you know, somebody out there is going to call you a hate group. It's like, yeah, I don't care. But sadly, this organization, they carry a lot of weight with mainstream media outlets. They're quoted and cited all the time.
And many cases, you have conservatives who are working hard to, to enforce immigration law, to advance parental rights. And the legacy media won't grant them any time of day, won't have them on to discuss these issues, won't give them any exposure because the SPLC brands them a hate group.
Oh, but this is critically important, if I could just interrupt you. Hold that thought, because what happens is, some producer at a television network, CNN or ABC News, they'll see this person speaking out. They'll do a quick search on the name of the organization. They'll see that it's on the SPLC hate list, and they'll just disregard, oh, we can't put them on the air. They deplatform them immediately because they're on that list.
Yeah. Well, and organizations were prevented from using Amazon's charity donation platform.
That's right.
The worst thing is, when the Biden administration is working hand in glove, we saw the FBI cite the SPLC to go after radical traditional Catholic hate groups. These are, Catholics who actually follow their faith, unlike certain Catholics I might mention. But we also saw Biden nominate an SPLC attorney to a federal judgeship, and she actually got confirmed by the United States Senate.
Yeah.
So the SPLC is not some, conservatives rightly say, if we're attacked by the SPLC, that means we must be doing something right. But at the same time, it does carry a significant reputational cost, reputational harm by getting slammed by the SPLC.
I don't know if you've written about this yet at Daily Signal, Tyler O'Neill. I love your byline, but I don't read every word. But there may be another angle here. I just saw that Moms for Liberty, they're going to be doing a big conference. I believe it's in Washington, D.C. And President Trump and Governor Ron DeSantis are both on the schedule to speak at this conference for Moms for Liberty. That's one of the reasons why this is coming out, right? Because when they give their speeches, now all the networks, when they show a clip of their speech, will say they spoke at a conference of Moms for Liberty, which has been labeled a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Well, see, maybe that's why the SPLC did rush this out. I mean, it's interesting. I was expecting this report back in February or March, and it seems the SPLC delayed, and now, in Pride Month, it decided to launch this and go after these moms and dads who are expressing some reservations about some of the extreme things we've seen from Pride.
Yeah. And let's be clear, but that'll be the headline, right? The GOP's leading candidates speak to a hate group in Washington, Moms for Liberty. This is also a response to the fact that these groups and the idea of parents' rights was an incredibly effective one when Glenn Youngkin reversed a decade of Democrat wins in Virginia. The idea that parents have a right to know what's going on in their kid's school, the school that their child is not only attending, but the school that they're paying for through their tax dollars, that's a very powerful message, and that's the message that won for Youngkin in Virginia.
And you would expect the left to realize that and pull back from some of these extreme things they're pushing. Instead, they've doubled down, they've tripled down. Yeah. They're pushing the envelope more and more. And so I think what we need to do as conservatives is continue to message, like, we do care about parental rights. Parents should be able to have a say in their kids' education, what they learn, protecting them from these extreme ideologies that will encourage them to harm themselves. And that message is a winning message that most of America can understand. And the fact that the Southern Poverty Law Center thinks that they can get away with condemning that message is really shocking.
Bingo. That's it, Tyler O'Neill. They can't defeat that message, so all they do is change the language. So if you're for parents' rights, that means you're a bigot and a hate monger. And they don't even have to fight the message anymore. There's more to come on O'Connor Tonight.